patriots worldwide in defense of human liberty. You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
The last few months, I have made the point ad nauseum that when you have mainstream dying dinosaur media and basically the entire executive branch hijacked by the Democratic Party and offshore interest, running around constantly claiming that the Russians are the reason the public hates them so much, and signing legislation to put the CIA over the Board of Governors of the Federal Communications Commission, you know you're in a very, very dangerous climate for the First Amendment. Now, we've seen unprecedented persecution of the press under Obama. Hands down, the worst president ever. That's why it was so rich to see Meryl Streep come out and say that there was this persecution of the press by Donald Trump with no evidence because he, quote, made fun of somebody. Well, that's called his First Amendment, Mrs. Streep. But now we see a Business Insider article asking, why is Drudge Report under attack and who is behind it? And pointing out that since late December, the site has been up and down, and the Drudge himself has come out and said it's the biggest DDoS attack in his 20-plus year history. Now, notice that follows on the heels of a few weeks before that when we had the biggest DDoS attack of our history that is still, by the way, ongoing, intermittently. And we have one of the companies that represents the top credit card companies, Walmart, you name it. There are three top companies. We have one of them signed as a contract for years and another as a consultant. And they said that the attack we're under is the second biggest they've ever seen. And when they say that they've ever seen, they mean in the history of the internet and what is known to be dealt with. What's happened to us is being studied by the FBI, you name it, because it was so many attacks, not just one, and not just one type of attack. So when you see press reports weeks after Drudge has been under attack still asking what's going on, it's been announced. They're saying they're going to, quote, attack Russian assets and Russian media and Russian allied media with cyber attacks and, quote, other measures at the time of their choosing. We've heard this from Obama. We've heard this from Hillary. We've heard this from McCain. We've heard this. And of course, it's asinine when you're an American patriot, have nothing to do with Russia, to sit here and watch this. But nevertheless, it's real. All they need is the political cover in Congress and at the Pentagon to give the orders out to do this. They can also farm it out. And we know that they farmed out to foreign, different multinational PR firms. They hired different bots during the election to go out and attack the free press as well and to go out and attack Donald Trump. In fact, Donald Trump's been under massive attacks. I'm just going to leave it at that. I didn't hear that from Trump. I heard that from the companies we work with. But they said the ones that we were under were even bigger, and that's because, again, these are just getting bigger historically. They're exponentially getting bigger with whoever gets hit by them. And that's why Drudge, who's never, called out for help or never called out to point out something's happening, has been coming out, is because it's unprecedented and he is under attack. And isn't it funny, about 14 months ago, he came to Austin, Texas. Isn't it interesting? And said next year, that was 2016, they're coming after the free speech. That's the year it all happens. He'd been told by a Supreme Court justice, the other conservative one that didn't mysteriously die. So this country is in a battle for its future. Everybody knows that, who's not hiding under a rock somewhere. But I just want to point out that this is a very, very serious time to be alive and that everyone should not take free speech for granted. Now, our sources said this had to be state actors. A lot of the DDoS attack type systems we were under of this magnitude have been from the Communist Chinese in the past. 4 months ago, the Communist Chinese, and again 2 months ago, took credit for massive DDoS attacks all over the United States. So this appears to be something that comes out of them. But when Drudge says, looks like U.S. government or elements of it, they clearly have started to work with the Chinese sometimes or green-lighted these type of attacks to happen against the American people. So Drudge seems to think it's the U.S. government. They've announced that that's what they're doing to a certain extent, and the Chinese are involved in unprecedented attacks. But the real reason I get to all this is we're witnessing a declared war against the press and against free speech in America. That's undeniable. And so to conservatives and liberals and just people who support free speech, period, everyone should be extremely vocal and upset right now. This is a big deal. You know, when they arrested Dinesh D'Souza, the filmmaker, on trumped-up charges years ago, I said, this is wrong. This is a bellwether. This is a sign for other people. This is a canary in the coal mine. And they said, oh, you conservatives are just upset we're going to arrest you. No, I'd be upset if somebody arrested Michael Moore for his speech, okay? And I don't like Michael Moore, and I don't agree with much of what he has to say. This is really common sense, folks. This is so draconian, so authoritarian. And we really see the de-evolution, the falling apart of the so-called left, from always having issues to now having no moral high ground whatsoever, and to really be a pathetic, but quite frankly, frightening group of delusional anti-freedom cult members. Now, that said, I'm going to go ahead and lay out something here, and I'm just going to leave it at that, but I need to put this out just in general for everybody's safety. I have been made aware of information dealing with this operation against the press in this country that goes far beyond cyber attacks. And so everybody just needs to understand that in my 20 plus years on air, this is the most dangerous escalation I've ever heard of. Now, we all remember the DNC staffer who got shot 4 times in the back, and his mother's gone public, his lawyer's gone public. In fact, we've had his lawyer on, and have talked about the fact that there's evidence of foul play. Well, obviously there's foul play, but evidence of the foul play linking to the Democrats and an ongoing cover-up. We've had, on top of it, Julian Assange come out and basically imply that Seth Rich is his source, or at least one of his sources. The information I have ties into that general area. And I'm just going to stop right there, but I'm going to tell you that it obviously affects all of us. All of us. Let me just be clear. When I say that, I mean all of us that are on the front lines of this situation need to understand that things have moved into a whole nother ballgame level, and that Hillary and the globalists have taken the gloves off. They're that evil, they're that arrogant, they're that crazy. Listen, look how sick and clearly nuts Hillary was. But still, she thought that she could run as a corpse, just like Jeb Bush thought. So their greatest weakness is also their greatest strength, because bravado, arrogance can take you sometimes over the line of defeat or victory. And folks know that we break a lot of big news here. People know that I don't just say things here on air, and I have been admonished not to say anything, so I'm not going to. I should be able to soon give you the information, and I'm kind of just putting the big information into this larger report because that just feels best. A little Easter egg there for you of information that quite frankly is a selfish Easter egg because I just really wish we could bring sunshine to this whole situation and turn this country and this world around. I mean, my God, the Democrats and Republican leadership are trying to start wars. They're behind radical Islam publicly. They're engaged in such deception in the media. They're just horrible, evil, wicked people like out of a cartoon. I mean, they're so bad, it's hard to believe. You know, you study history, there's always every generation totally crazy, whacked out, super evil people that are into badness and into hurting people and into just overthrowing beauty and goodness. So that's just the way it always works. It's up to us to stop them. But boy, let me tell you, I cannot wait to give you all this information. And I guess it's a good thing I'm on the road. I I just hope everybody knows how real all this is, because it has gone to a whole nother level. And these people can see the end of their days because of their own crimes, but they just hate all of us that are seen at the forefront of bringing their reign of terror to an end. All right, that's my report. I'm going to have more of these fall throughout the day. I'm Alex Jones for Infowars.com. Please don't take this broadcast for granted. Please pray for us, and please support the broadcast and spread the word, because I don't want to fight and have this all in vain. But regardless of what happens to us individually in this fight, humanity will prevail. That's God's promise. And so I want to thank you all, and just tell you I really appreciate you all, and I want to thank you for your prayers and support. But we know what's happened to Drudge. He's under attack like everybody else. It's part of the testing, the end of free speech. It's part of the censorship being announced everywhere, both governmental and corporate. It's part of the enemy that sees control of this country and much of the world, trying to maintain control. It's a modern war. Pentagon called the Cold War World War III. Well, this is the new 21st century world war, folks. It's economic, it's cultural, it's using borders, it's using refugees, it's using jihadis, it's using attacks on the family, and a lot of people have chosen to serve evil. A lot of people have picked the wrong team.